All right, so it's me again, and we are moving on into this next unit, and we have a couple of things that we need to talk about. We've been talking about slope-intercept form, where we were doing our y equals mx plus b, but we're also going to talk about point slope, and we're going to talk about standard form. So obviously, this video is just about point slope, and I want to walk you through a couple of them, and then I'm gonna have you practice a couple of them on your own, and then I might even have something fancy for you at the end. So here we go. Our point slope, which is y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1, where m is a slope and xy is a point on the line. So if we are given any point on the line, we can go back and we can figure out what that y-intercept is. So typically, it's pretty simple and to the point. I want to do it today with some tables. So I'm going to work through this and then show you what we're going to do. So we know how to find the slope from a table. So I'm going to do number one. And when we're looking for our slope, we just need to take 2 points because my change in y is not consistent. My change in x is not consistent. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And because I like positive numbers better than negative numbers, as I'm sure you do too, these are the 2 points that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use 4 and 24, and I'm going to use the 10 and the 60. Of course, you can use any 2 points, but I want to go ahead and keep it simple. So again, I need to find the slope. So I'm going to find my y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's going to give me 60 minus 24 over 10 minus 4. So I'm going to get 36 over 6, which simplifies to 6. That's going to be my m, my slope. Okay? Now that I know the slope, I can go back and I can put it into this formula to find out what is my y-intercept. So the formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we are trying to get back to our slope-intercept formula. So my y is going to stay the same. My y1, I'm going to use my 24. We figured out what the slope is. That was 6. X minus my x1 was 4. We know how to distribute. We know how to combine integers and all of that. Solve 1 and 2 step equations. Equations with variables on both sides. We got this. So let's work on our distributor first. So this is going to stay the same on this side. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times minus 4 is a minus 24. If you remember when we were doing this in class, our distributive property, I think I used blue and pink. We did this for our distributive property. If you don't remember, go back and watch that video. All right, so now what I want to do, I'm trying to get back to my slope-intercept formula so I can find out what my y-intercept is. So I am going to make my 2 sides. I'm trying to get back, so I need that y by itself. So I want to get rid of this. Of course, I have to do the same thing on both sides. That's going to be 0. That's also going to be 0. So what I'm left with is y equals 6x. We know that this just means this is a proportional relationship. Just because I don't see the y-intercept doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that it is 0. So for this, my slope was 6 and my y-intercept, because remember it's y equals mx plus b. If there's nothing there, that means that that y-intercept is 0. That's 0. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at number 4. So I'm going to just scoop my paper up to number 4. So again, if I try to look at my change in y and my change in x, it's not consistent. So I know I'm going to go ahead. If it's consistent and you can get your slope, go ahead and do it that way. But the ones that I pulled, it wasn't. So I'm going to have to go ahead and do that y2 over y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to do 5 and 3, and I'm going to use 6 and 4. Finding my slope. So remember, we worked on this. Actually, we had it on our last assessment too. So I am going to do 4 minus 3 over 6 minus 5, which is going to give me 1 over 1, which is 1. So this is going to be my m, and we know that the m is the slope. So now I want to take that slope and I want to put it back into the formula so that I can figure out what that y-intercept is. Okay, so my y is going to stay the same minus my y1, which I'm going to go ahead and use this one and use 3. My slope is 1, and then my x1 was 5. So again, we're going to do our distributive property, and it's 1, so it should be pretty easy for us, but go ahead and put them on there anyway. So I have y minus 3 equals 1x minus 5. Again, we're trying to get back to our slope intercept. So I'm going to make my two sides. I need to get rid of this positive 3. So I'm going to do the opposite. And I got to do it on both sides. So that's going to be 0. This is going to be a negative 2. What I'm left with is y equals x minus 2. So I know that my slope was 1 and my y-intercept, this time I can see it, it's a negative 2. Okay? Pretty simple, pretty easy. You don't have to worry about committing that formula to memory. It is going to be on your star chart. I believe I put a copy of your star chart in your under your resources. So you should definitely be okay. And like I said, you'll have that star chart when it's time for benchmark and all of that. So don't worry about the formula. Just know which one you're looking for. All right, so here's my table in 7. Again, I'm inconsistent over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead. I'm comfortable using my y2 minus y1. So this is number 7. So I'm going to use 4 and 36. I'm going to use 5 and 44. And I'm going to go ahead and get this popping. So I'm going to do my y2 minus y1 over my x2 minus x1 because I'm finding my slope, remember? So I have 44 minus 36 over 5 minus 4. So I get 8 over 1. So that means that 8 is my m. That is my slope. If you feel like I'm going too fast, remember that's the joy of the video. You can rewind it and watch it again. All right, now we have our slope. Let's go ahead and we're going to put it into our formula. So our y is staying the same. Our y1 is that 36. M is 8. And our x1 was 4. You can use either one of those. I just choose to use that top one. It's up to you. So remember, we need to do our distributive property here because we're trying to get back to our slope-intercept form. So this side is staying the same. I now have 8x minus 32. Remember, I'm trying to find out y equals mx plus b. So I need to create my two sides. I need to get rid of that 36. So I'm going to do the opposite. I have to do it on both sides. So now what I have left is y equals 8x plus 4. So I know that my slope was 8 and my y-intercept is 4. Okay? Pretty easy, right? So if you think you missed something, go ahead and rewind it, start back over, see what you got. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause the video. I want you to try 2, 5, and 8. So the same thing that I just did, I want you to try 2, 5, and 8. So go ahead and pause the video, try 2, 5, and 8, and then start it back and see how you did. All right, pause the video, stop playing. All right, so let's take a look at what you should have gotten. So for your 2, you should have got your slope as 1, your y-intercept as 3. So again, in that table, I just picked 2 of the points, wasn't consistent. I found my slope, which was 1, put it into my formula and solved it. For 5, your slope was 2, and your y-intercept was also 2. Again, I just use those 2 points. I'm always going to pick 2 positive ones if I can. If I have to use the negative ones, then that's fine too. And for number 8, slope was 1, y-intercept was 3. Again, there's my 2 points. I found my slope, substituted in the formula, work it out. All right, so again, this is something we're going to practice in class. We're going to go over it. Don't worry about it. If you feel like you need to watch the video again, watch it again. Nobody tripping. So here's what I'm going to do. I am posting this video on the 23rd. It's almost 5 o'clock. Well, guess what? If you do 3, 6, and 9, send them to me before we meet in class on Tuesday, then I'll take those as extra credit. So exact same thing as we just did. What is the slope? What is the y-intercept for 3, 6, and 9? But I have to have them before we meet on Tuesday. You can email them to me, or I will tell you to email them to me because of the way I'm going to post it in the Google Classroom, you won't see it. All right, I'll see y'all in class.